Welcome back to V-World. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, at which point I'm giving away a Pokemon 151 poster collection. That's right, 3 packs inside, 3 promos, and the poster. 151, brilliant, beautiful set going out to 1 lucky subscriber, 2 3-pack blisters going out to 2 additional winners, and 5 Pokemon mystery card lots, 8 winners overall. 4,000 subscribers is the goal. So how do we get there? You need to like, you need to comment, and you need to subscribe to the channel. The simple, easy stuff. But I want to make sure I have everybody compiled in one place for this ongoing contest as we reach this goal. I've been announcing in every single video going to this point here to reach that height, hopefully by the end of the year or sooner. But all you got to do is go over to this video here. That's the one you want to leave an additional comment, and then I know you are entered for this contest. Today is Wednesday, which is our Wednesday Works of Art, where I look at sets going from the most modern new sets, working our way backwards, and when a new one pops up, I track back to it, and I go and take care of that one. So, let's dive in. We've already done all of these here. I did Surging Sparks when it released, Stellar Crown when it released. I think I even did like Shrouded Fable and Twilight Masquerade when they released, because I was already doing this when those were being released at that time. We got all of these here. We've gone through quite a few of Sword and Shield already. We are actually all the way down to Battle Styles. We don't have that many more to go here, folks, to be able to get through the Sword and Shield era, and I'm changing things up. I am changing things up. So in Battle Styles, let's take a quick look here. 163 cards, 20 secret rares. That makes 183 cards overall. Back in 2021, March 19th of 2021, this is right at the boom here. Everything was really taking off big time in 2021, and everybody was getting crazy for this stuff. So Battle Styles at the time seemed like a pretty darn good set because it was a new one. That's why everybody wanted it. And there's a handful of cards that are still really quite expensive, but for the most part, I think people have moved away from that and found the later years of the Sword and Shield era have turned out to be the better sets. Now, this is a common pattern that we see in the different eras of Pokemon. We're seeing it with Scarlet and Violet as well, where the early ones are okay, especially at the time of release, not incredibly well received, but now we're getting all the way towards the end here. Surging Sparks, next year's looking like it's going to blow up with Prismatic Evolutions, the new Team Rocket set, the different Gym Hero set, that kind of thing. So we're going to get pretty crazy stuff going here, and we're in another little bit of a boom, to be honest. So I wanted to change it up here because the way the sets work, because of the artwork, I just want to pull out the 3. I'm not going to even put them in a tier list or anything like that. I think it's too complex to really take it to that height of adding them into a list. You know, rating the different artworks here, because we have a handful of alternate arts. Then you're moving into full art trainers, which is just a totally different category. Really hard to compare it in a form of apples to apples when it's really not even close. So we're just going to appreciate the set as a whole and take a quick look here, a little snapshot, just priced out high to low on the Pokemon themselves. This is ignoring any trainers and any products right now. Just a quick snapshot and moving into some of these rainbows here, so you can kind of slow the video down or go back and take a look, or I urge you to go take a look at the set yourself. I really like some of these where the colors just pop on those, especially the full arts. They're really nice in that way. Not a whole lot to really dive into here, but I did want to take the time to appreciate a few of the artwork. So for my part, I've been kind of narrowing things down to just having a few, and I mean literally a few, 3 artworks to look at, which is no difference here. We're going to do the same thing. I don't know how many times I pulled that VMAX and nothing else from this set, seriously. It had to be like at least like 5 because it didn't even open that much of it, but that was the only one I was getting all over the place. Pretty ridiculous. But we're going to take a quick look at some of these here. Oh good, we got code cards in the mix here. That's what I was looking for. Not really. Let's take a look at one of the 3 here. Rapid Strike Urshifu V. Now, I preferred the Rapid Strike over the Single Strike version here when we get to the Urshifu V card. The VMAX cards are cool, but they're pretty chaotic, and I really think that the V takes it a little bit more in a delicate way of featuring the Pokemon and then giving it a scenery really nicely, and it's no exception here. If you kind of look at this from our angle, we're really up close on the Pokemon here, but we have a really wide scene here. This big curved look back there gives this illusion of more of like a wide angle lens really close in on your subject. Whether that's the case or what they were going for, it's just the way the canopy of the trees are, I don't know. But it just gives that illusion there. I love this little color streaking through here and then running off the border. That's a nice little touch, little detail, just to give it a little bit more dimension where it's pouring over the border in different directions. And if you had any major miscuts, you'd really see a difference there which is common. You see some pretty interesting quality control. I think it's gotten better, but you see some interesting quality control. And really, for the level of this artwork, just looking at the price at a snapshot, $13.50, it's not that bad here. I mean, look, we're at 12 and a quarter thereabout. So, if you're looking to pick up an alt art, these are not easy to pull. These are not easy to get a hold of every once in a while when you're going through packs. But if you go and buy it on the secondary market, this is kind of a good opportunity. I think all of the alt arts will have their day, one day, where it's just so difficult to get a hold of them that they really do go up in price. These actually saw a boom back in May, but the big ones stayed on top, and then these did come back down over that time period. So it's still a good pickup price, a good pickup time for something like this. Not that I'm urging you to go spend your money on this, because there's so much good stuff on the horizon. You don't have to put into this. But if you're into the alt arts, you want to get some low-hanging fruit, this one is in the affordable range, in my opinion, as far as alternate arts, especially out of battle styles. One set that isn't as appreciated as others from the Sword and Shield era. If we move on to another one out of here, again, we're just looking at some alt arts. They're the best artworks to consider to bring to the forefront here. This Empoleon V, I love this one only because I think so many people ignore it. They really ignore it. They think, oh, it's Empoleon, not that exciting. Okay, fine. I don't know if Empoleon's that popular of a Pokemon, but I think the artwork is fantastic. You have the Phalanx here trickled through the scene. Phalanx being yellow, Empoleon, the feature color, being blue. A nice contrast there, obvious contrast. Blue and yellow going against each other. In the terms of light, they're direct opposites. In paint, they're close. It's going to be orange and blue that are going to do that in painting, but we have a really good atmosphere here where you can see the haze, the mist coming off of the waterfall. Mindfu, I can't remember the name here, so somebody correct me down below with your comment if you recall, but something like that. In the background, kind of teaching him, or he's showcasing. I don't know who's teaching who, but it's also got this Karate Kid, crane kick stance going here. Really interesting there. The water looks phenomenal. Just the detail of the water here towards the foreground is looking amazing, and just the way it's splashing out and giving us a little glisten of the light coming across here. We know it's later in the day or early in the morning. I can't tell which one, but we have this more dramatic light coming at a lower angle. It really adds to it, and from behind, no less. So really good highlights here. Keeping on the shadow side here, which is not super dramatic. It could have been even more so if they wanted, but I think this is a really good art. Again, the bleeding off of the edge here, giving a lot more dimension into the scene, is really an extra step taken by the artist to bring us into the scene and kind of welcome the viewer in. Lastly, I'm going to go into the big one, the big guy, the one that everybody would think is the best out of this set, and that's the Tyranitar V. I mean, who didn't look like this after Thanksgiving dinner, really? It just brings you right there to that moment of, yes, we've all overdone it before, whether it's eating or otherwise, we've all overdone it. And there he is, just sleeping out, sleepy Tyranitar V, hanging out under the shade, trying to cool off, trying to relax, getting a little nap in because he is stuffed. And it's just the story here. This isn't really a complex scene. It's not even that detailed, really. There's just the apple core a little bit on the plates here, maybe some indiscriminate food particles here all around. I don't know what's going on. Is this supposed to be a honeypot? I don't know. But we have just enough here to tell the story, and it creates a relatable thing, and it really kind of brings down the guard. It takes away the fear and the worry, because Tyranitar is this big dinosaur-looking, really powerful Pokemon. Yeah, he's just napping under a tree. He's now become no more than a Snorlax walking by, right? So, they're just lazy and hanging out. So not too scary if you're not really encountering them, right? So interesting artwork, very different approach. Take that to the Tyranitar we've seen in the Scarlet and Violet era. Was that Paradox Rift, I guess? That really powerful looking Tyranitar. Is it Tyranitar? I don't remember now. And I don't remember if that set. Again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. There's so much going on, so many cards. Hard to keep them all straight here. And the single strike mechanic is pretty cool in the TCG. I don't even know if it's competition legal at this point. I don't think it is, but maybe it is. I don't know. Man, I don't know anything about this hobby. What am I doing here? I'm talking myself more into the reality of what I don't understand rather than what I'm doing. But that's not the purpose of today. Today's purpose is to look at the artwork and appreciate it for what it is. And at almost $150, wow, you might want to appreciate it a lot. But we have seen this come down a little bit here. Let's take a look at the past year. In May, when the alt art boom happened, it almost approached that 200. I mean, it was getting close there. And now the recovery here, which is a graph we've seen many times, where we were all in this one range here. The big shot up after some maneuvering, it levels off here, probably somewhere between that spike, all right, which is a common market correction, and you're going to see this more often than not on all sorts of cards. All right, there are a handful of cards out there where we have seen this, and then the climbing just didn't stop after that. A few that come to mind: Umbreon, VMAX, Alt Art, the Moonbreon, the Greninja EX that we have now, and that Pikachu EX. This is not the trend that we're seeing, at least at this point in time. Maybe it will get to an insane price of spiking and then come back down, and over enough years it'll work itself out. But just this past year has been a pretty chaotic one to watch nonetheless. And if you look at it here, 130, okay, 130 going all in. That's free shipping there, so that helps a lot rather than having to deal with that extra on there. Again, just word of advice, spending that kind of money on a card on TCG Player, a little bit, intimidating. I'm not comfortable with that kind of thing. I'm not even comfortable spending like $40 on a card on TCG Player. I'd like to see it. I don't want to be stuck with the one that's way off center and looking all messy or something, or nicked up corners. You're getting a PSA 8 worthy kind of card where they're calling it near mint, and I personally wouldn't, so near mint is subjective in this platform here, so you might want to be a little bit careful about how you go about it. But nonetheless, price is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the artwork, and the Tyranitar V is an instant classic out of this set, and I think it's one of the alt arts that's going to hold some really nice value for a lot of things. Just bringing down the guard, really taking down the threat from Tyranitar and what Tyranitar should really be. Napping in the shade, it's a really wonderful depiction, a really nice twist on an otherwise obvious Pokemon that we can all assume the story out of, but we get a whole different picture here. So it makes for something interesting, a little bit fun, and hopefully you're enjoying the channel. If you are, like, comment, and subscribe. Just by doing that, you can be a part of the giveaway. I mentioned it earlier in the video, so make sure you go check it out. But the Pokemon 151 poster collection going out to one lucky subscriber, 2 3-pack blisters of Surging Sparks, and 5 Pokemon mystery card lots going out to 8 winners overall. We're trying to get to the 4,000 subscriber mark. We are climbing, folks. We are getting there, and I'd really appreciate your support on the channel. For all of you who've already done so, thank you. And if you're still here at the end of the video, that's amazing. If you're new and you're still here, be sure to hit the bell, because I post 7 days a week. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.